I know, right?
Here we are. It's okay. It's not work. It's mostly just family stuff.
Right. And we're here. So that's a positive, isn't it?
That's right. People are showing up. That's good.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, we are 10 o'clock people. Look at that. 10 o'clock to 10:01 and like 9 people jumped on. Hi, Joanna.
Hey there. Back up this computer. Back it up.
It reveals a lot. Yeah, you're like, whoa, you can tell.
Woo!
Joanna, that looks like a great listing. Is it on Appaloosa?
Yes.
Yeah, what a cool house. And
Oh man, it's cool. And everybody that has seen it has really loved it. One person said, I wish we could just take that house and move it away from 58. They don't like 58 being
right.
there, but we have a lot of interest. I think we're gonna maybe be getting an offer today because she saw it 3 times.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw the sign and I went and pulled it up because I knew it would be cool if that was the house. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Can they put a fence?
I mean, anybody could put a fence, yeah.
That's what
I mean, the seller could put a fence and they had thought about it, but they have no kids or they didn't need a fence. So they put a lot into it already and they didn't want to put a fence too. But
there's no restriction.
Anybody could.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Well, and the other agent that just showed it and they loved it. He said you could plant evergreens along that side of the road, you know, where you block traffic or whatever. And you don't have to fence the whole yard. I know it's a big yard, but you could fence part of it, you know. So yeah, definitely.
Just like a privacy fence on that one side even.
Yeah.
Well, so congratulations.
Well, thanks. Well, we're not under contract yet, but thank you.
It'll come.
Yeah.
That's great. That's such a cool little strip of homes in there, I think.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Hi, Ryan and Chad. Nice. Oh, you have your snacks.
Oh, I forgot to grab my snack.
I made sure I grabbed it before I left.
I love that.
Just for the day.
A plug for my health and wellness ALC. Like,
there you go.
Like July check. We did a good thing.
We did. I grabbed an extra one yesterday for lunch.
Are they just Sam's Club or Costco or?
Yeah, no, literally from Sam's Club.
Perfect. I'll be grabbing one.
Yeah, they're really good. They just come in a big bag and I keep, you know, those really cool cake platters that your grandma had with a big lid. Yeah, these kind of things are what's in mine so that the kids.
Is that a cake? Yeah. Good call.
Show me the picture of it. What is it again?
They're just these, where's my camera?
Cranberry healthy mix. Okay.
They got like 4 or 5 different kinds.
Oh, okay.
These are the these are the ones without M&Ms in them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, nice. Nice.
Mark.
Anyway, go guys. Yes, but I'm having it with my coffee, and my coffee always tastes like dessert, so it's really not that good for me. But I'm doing it.
Drink it early. It's all right if you're going to do it early in the day.
Yeah. And I can only do one because it is a lot. So, well, I thought I would start off today by just reading a Gary Keller quote because it's something I have to keep reminding myself. People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. And I have to keep telling myself that because my brain wants to set a goal and I try to go, how am I going to get to that goal? And realizing that the means to it are the small things all along the way, which are those daily habits that sometimes they don't seem so important. They just seem a little monotonous and maybe the value doesn't look as great, but just remembering that those little habits are what really creates my future. So that's my thing for the day. and good habits. We have our healthy snacks today. I don't know if anybody else struggles with the small things, but I like big things. I like big activities, big success, I like the big things. So the small things I have struggled sometimes maintaining. Tell me somebody else struggles. Just anybody else struggles on the day-to-day? Yeah. It gets hard at times. Yeah. So that's me. Okay. So we're going to do an icebreaker and everybody has to participate. So even if your face isn't on there, you got to type it in or something. So you can list one or two things, but what is the one thing that you always have in your car that benefits your real estate business? And I will start, and there's a lot of things, but the one thing I have found that I use all the time that I never take out of my car is a leaf blower. I have found that I can prep a house for a quick photo with a leaf blower. I can knock off the spider webs. I can clean off the porch. It gets rid of all kinds of things. I have learned if I'm going to need it, and just to show up at a listing and my clients are like, dang, she's just here leaf blowing my driveway one more time, it means I've shown up. So I don't take out of my car my leaf blower.
That's funny.
Well, somebody else enlighten me so I can learn how to pack my car.
Well, one thing I always keep in my car is a one-time permission to show contract. Because if I see a house and it's a for sale by owner and I want to stop by, and if I have a client that is really actually looking for that kind of house or whatever, I will go up to the door and say, hey, I saw your house is for sale by owner and I would love to show it to my client, but I can't show it to, and anyway, I present that form so that I could do that. So I always have that in my car, just in case. Not that it's happened lately.
That's
but
amazing.
Just in case.
I'm gonna do that. Come on, what else?
Jacob told me what to put in mine, or Jake, sorry. He said,
We
Jakey.
now know who that is.
Oh, Jakey.
Jakey, that's the
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear.
Bear.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna go to a different brokerage now.
I'm out.
We discussed this. I'm trying. Jake. But again, I'm new, so I've only had a few things, but I have things that I've used already are, my husband got me a little drill with a bit to put the signs in the ground. So I didn't have to try it. So I drill a little hole before I put my for sale sign, and then a little mallet on to kind of tap it in. Cause I'm, struggle with hard dirt that way. And he knows that.
Yeah.
And then just a few other, I put a screwdriver. What else did Jake tell me? And the thing I need is a good, like digital tape measure.
Yeah.
I need to just get one of those because again, the specs aren't always there and people want to know how big is this room. I'm pretty good at ballparking bedrooms, but that's something I'm going to add to my kit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know that I had a gentleman bet me once I couldn't figure out the size of his room, and I'm pretty good with my legs. I was within 3 inches of every room in this house. So he had to buy me a coffee, but tape measure would have been great. And I did have to use one once. And a gentleman asked me, he goes, we were looking at older homes and he's like, my truck won't fit in this garage. So we had to we measured his truck and measured the garage because there's no way he would have moved forward with considering this house if his truck wouldn't have fit in. So it was awesome because my legs would not have figured that out, but knowing that his truck did fit and it made it a possibility that he would have marked off the list. So tape measure is great.
Tricia, I've seen people buy houses because the tongue of the boat trailer fits in the garage and they spent the $550,000 on the house. I'm like, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I mean, because a trailer fit in a garage, you're buying this thing. And that was I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Tape
So
measure's
being
awesome.
prepared to let them know it'll fit in that garage is great. All right.
Yeah, I use
More
that
wisdom.
razor. measure quite a bit, and I can use it too if they're saying, hey, this floor feels unlevel. I can kind of set it down on the ground, and if it's 6 inches off the ground, like, yeah, it does kind of slope. But yeah, that laser tape measure is probably the thing I use the most with showings anyways.
That's cool. I have used a golf ball for that too, Jake.
So I've used that too, but it depends on, I don't know, it doesn't roll. I need like a marble or something like that. Golf balls don't roll that great.
Ping pong balls might, they don't have little divots in them.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Anything else? Any mind-blowing things? Toilet paper is something else, because I don't know how many times I have people with children and they're like, oh, you know, my 4-year-old's got to go. And if they can't go, then they got to leave. So toilet paper can keep you in a house sometimes.
You mean when you're doing a showing?
Yeah,
Oh.
always. I have a roll of toilet paper near the leaf blower, because you just don't know who you could go, wait, there's one more house I can show you since that didn't work. And I don't know, it just keeps it going. Yeah. And a couple of little toy cars. Boys get busy sometimes, and if they can drive that car all over the house, they will.
That's a good idea. Great idea.
I don't seem to have as much with little girls, but little boys need cars. But I know that because God gave me 3 boys and 1 girl. I'm well prepared. Okay, so I had an offer come in on a listing the other day, and it was the first time I had seen this the way it was written, and I had to ponder it for a second, and I have my thoughts, but I thought I would get your what are your thoughts? Have you seen it? What are your pros and cons? But it was a house that was listed. I knew I was going to get several offers, and they did as well. Their agent was smart enough to know. But the offer that came in was a good chunk above list price. So my house was listed at $465, and we knew it was a little low, but they had moved out of state and really just needed to get it sold so they didn't have to deal with lawn mowing and all the things. But the offer came in, and it said the offer is at $500,000 with box number 3,
Wow.
or they will add an escalation clause to $550, but goes to box number 1. Now, I wasn't really a guarantee about the appraisal and all that, but the part that I had never received before was, here's our offer, take it at this price, and you're getting everything else you could want with a box 3, we kind of know. Or we'll go up to $550. You can, make more money on us, but we're going to do inspections. Have you ever seen that before?
Wow. No.
Not on the offer. On resolutions, we give options, but not usually on offers to have an option.
So was it priced low, way low at 465?
Personally, I didn't think it was way low. The house needed things done. It wasn't perfectly dated, but it was on Silver Lake, and I was amazed at how much people would pay for a water view.
Wow.
Despite the house, to be honest.
Location.
Yeah.
Location.
Yeah.
Did they waive the appraisal on that?
No. So I knew I was going to have to defend the appraisal, but my clients ended up taking the 500 at box 3. So there was a decision because we had a lot of offers come in, and it was a new thing I had to present. I had never had to share with the client this much of an explanation of, you can do this, or you can kick in the escalation clause and go to, 520, but you have to do these inspections, which could create negotiations. We could or could not appraise. Silver Lake's a really hard place to appraise because anything off the lake is not going to sell for that. Anyway, I don't know, what are your thoughts? Would you do that on an offer?
Did you get other offers that were that high?
Yes.
Really? Wow. That's amazing.
Yes, we did. We had 6 offers between 487, I think, with their escalation clause and 500.
Hey Tricia, what were the expectations of your sellers? I know they were getting out of town and they wanted to move. They wanted a hassle-free sale. You were setting all that up perfectly for them. What was their expectation around a sale price, like a range of where they wanted to fall, even though they might be listed a little lower than they wanted at first? Did you set an expectation of where they would?
I did. I gave them a range of what I thought it would fall for, but we talked about you doing just packing and moving kind of here. I mean, I'll get professional cleaners to come in, but there were things that could have been changed, and then if they wanted to do anything, but when they decided to move out of state and the job happened, and that was just like, here we go. Because I had first met them a year ago and they were considering moving back to family, and I just kept in touch. And he actually said, hey, I think this is when we're going to do this. And so the needle went fast. They just wanted to walk away. I gave them a range and they picked probably more of the mid range other than the high range of what I thought it could go for. Honestly, full transparency, I was a little shocked at how much people were going to pay for this house. I think I saw the water, but I also saw the retaining wall. Like I think I saw square footage, but I also saw how much it cost to fix that square footage. So yeah, it's an interesting home. There were some KW Southland agents that came through it. And I asked them immediately when they left. I text them and I'm like, I really want your feedback. Because I want to be sure have the right feedback for my clients. And one of them was like, I don't know if you'll get this amount. And the other one was like, my clients would pay over this. And I'm like, well, there you go.
That's the market.
Yeah. So would you use that in an offer?
Well, to me, that says 2 things. Number one, we'll go box 3, which means we're not afraid. We can pay whatever to fix whatever. We just want the house. If you want us to do inspections and you want to go higher, and you as the agent, your concern is about whether it appraises or not, well, seems like to me like that conversation's off the table, because they're willing. They love that house enough that if it doesn't appraise for 500, they're going to negotiate on paying part of that themselves if they have to. So I wouldn't worry about the appraisal side of it. But if you don't want to fix things in the house and you think that those numbers could add up to that, then the box 3 sounds good to me and you're finished and done with it. But again, you take the appraisal off the table because it sounds like some buyers that aren't going to care about too much about the appraisal process. The appraisal hurts you both ways, whether they go 550 or whatever, or they go 500, the appraisal is still going to be a problem. So that comes off the table by them being able to not worry about taking it at box 3. Just
Fair.
my thought anyway.
Yeah. Would you use it as a power play on an offer? If you're like, hey, could be multiple offers. I'm going to go.
Ask yourself that, did it work?
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it kind of
There you go.
Wow. Okay. It actually gave me a little confidence in the other agent that they have been around and done things and right. So, okay. It was just an interesting one for me. And I've only been in real estate just over 3 years. So I know I'm learning and I see new things all the time, but that one, I kind of thought I had seen a lot, but that was a new one.
Hey, Tricia.
Yeah, it's a great way. I don't know about you guys, but I've talked to other agents and they said, oh, our sellers don't care about money. They just want to secure a deal. And then you send over that 500 checkbox 3 and they pick something that was a checkbox 1 with higher money. Like, dude, I asked you before I your offer. You said it was checks box through that if your buyers really want it. I mean, it's a great safety net.
Yeah.
Because even if you ask the agents what they want, people are liars.
Now, Jakey, yeah, sometimes the listing agents are not all created equal out there, right? And so I would call, if I was making an offer to you, Tricia, and I would had an option of what I want to do, I probably wouldn't have sent two options. It's a neat idea, but I would have called you, and our conversation would have led me to give you a great price over asking box 3, but not a ridiculous amount that would take us into a position that we would be renegotiating probably twice, once on the inspections, because that's what they're setting it up for. Hey, we're going to possibly negotiate.
Right.
We say we're not going to ask for anything, but you know as well as we do that if something does happen that's major in that inspection, we're going to ask for the repair. And then 2, we know we're going to be in an appraisal condition. And then are we going to back it all the way back down? Or are we going to negotiate on that and split it somewhere in between and get a sale price? So you really lock it up for your client security wise by getting 35 over and box 3, and you're off to the races and probably headed to the finish line on this thing.
Yeah, it does close today, so yay me.
Yay.
I know we did get there, which was great. Yeah, I think sometimes I hold my breath a little bit, and I will say I was a little nervous about the appraisal regardless. I think it's truly the first time I've had to use all the tools that I've learned from KW Southland about appraisals. I don't know that I'd ever had to kind of show up with this, here you go, but I did with this one. And I had my whoop, here's your list of lakefront properties in Cass County. Lucky for me, that includes Winnebago and Creekmore, and it's really hard for them to find a comparison. Some of Raintree Lake. So anyway, it was good because I had to learn how to do something I had never done. So it was a learning curve. So I made an offer for my clients on a property. We went 5,000 above list price. You know, we're in the 260 range. So we went 5,000 above list price, and we put a expiration date. We did it in the morning. So it was like a 30-hour expiration date, hoping to not let it go through a whole weekend and be seen because of when they put it on the market. And I kind of told her, this is what we're doing, and and I checked in with her probably, halfway through. Hey, is there any conversation? And then about an hour before our expiration time, and she was like, they've decided they have a couple of more showings tomorrow and they're going to want to show it. Will your clients extend? And I was like, I don't know if they will or won't, but if you've already decided that, then the deadline's going to run out. So she called me the next day after the showings, and she was like, hey, they want to accept your offer. And I was like, wait, I'm a little bothered by that. So I wasn't sure, but I actually went back to my clients and I was like, what do you want to do? And so we came in we resubmitted an offer because that contract was down, and we came back in a little less and they took it. And I'm like, sorry, that expired. So I don't know. I was like, am I supposed to be doing this? Like, is it best case just to go, we'll extend? Or was it okay that I was like, that ended and I'm bringing you something else?
Yeah, they just told you they didn't get a better offer than yours. And so my offer changes too.
Yeah.
My offer changed the very second that this ran out.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's what I did. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what if I'm not doing my clients the best service by having this conversation?
Well, see, I had a situation where somebody sent me an offer on a house that we had listed, the one on Madison Creek. And the very first showing sent me an offer asking price, box number 1, which was great. They gave me a 3-hour expiration. And I'm like, what? And I had showings all day. And so I called the agent. I said, listen, we've got showings all day. I'm not gonna follow this. I'm not gonna give you a response because we got showings. And I was expecting multiple offers, and I was expecting it to go higher than what we listed it at. Maybe that was wrong for me. Maybe I should have listed it a little higher. But anyway, I felt like I was getting a little bullied by the agent. You know, they called back and said, well, you've got, you know, you've got your asking price. What are you looking for? I said, well, we wanted to, you know, we've got other showings and we want to see, we want to give other people an opportunity to look at the house, to give some competition. And I feel like from now on, I'll probably, now I do have to say my seller had a very hard time leaving the house. She's 80 years old. It was difficult for her to leave with a little dog and all that. So then I had to take that into consideration because I didn't want her to be kicked out of her house all day on showings. But I think next time I kind of have to go into it like, and of course, talking to the seller, but say, do you want to run this through at least Saturday? We went live on Thursday. Do you want at least a day or two to show the house? Because if you only have 1 or 2 showings, I mean, it's not enough. You know what I mean? Maybe there would be more offers if there were more showings, and especially if you have a lot of interest. So how do you guys do it? Do you set a time ahead of time and say, we're going live on Thursday or Friday, but we're not making a decision till Sunday night? Or do you feel like, you know, if an offer comes in, you have to like make a decision right then? How do you guys do that?
I don't play that 3-hour expiration nonsense. I say we need 24 hours to review all offers. My clients are busy. I mean, we're going to review
Yeah.
offers at this specific time. If that's the way that they're going to conduct business, and I don't know if I necessarily want to do business with them anyways, even if the offer's great. But yeah, no, I always just tell them, hey, I saw it had 3 hours to expire. We need everything to have at least 24 hours so we have time to review it. Can you change your offer? And if they won't, then I don't want to do business with them anyways, if that's how they're going to do business.
Do you write that in your private comments when you put your MLS listing, like this house will, you know, these
Sometimes, usually
4 hours?
Usually I'll just make a phone call after the showing. Hey, how'd the showing go? Hey, if you guys submit any offers, just letting you know we want at least 24 hours to review all offers.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably should start putting that in my notes more consistently.
Back in 2021, we would write language in that we'll review offers on Monday morning at 10 a.m. with
Right.
the client. Please submit everything, extend out through noon, and we will respond to you by then, highest and best to be submitted by Sunday at 6 p.m. And then that way we're working out all the net sheets and, you know, everything for the client. When you had like 10 offers to go through or whatever it is, the market's a little bit different now. I like Jake's approach. Absolutely. Call them and be like, hey, is this accurate? Like, first of all, like, no way this is right, but is this right? And they said, oh yeah, we need an answer tonight. And I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. 1, clients aren't available, and 2, we can't get with them in this time frame. So we need at least until whatever, like 24 hours. And that way we can put the net sheet together. We can break everything down, analyze the offer, and go over it with them. It's not they're scared they're not going to get a house. That's lack of confidence. They probably made other offers on other properties and haven't gotten them. So they're trying to get something in quick. And I asked the agent that too. I'm like, have you guys made several offers? And they're like, oh yeah, we've been beat out on 3 others. So they're doing this to try to get away from that they've gotten before. And that tells me exactly where we need to go with our negotiations.
We'll
too.
see, then the agent called me and said, listen, if we go 5 over, will you go ahead and take it off the market? So I, you know, talked to my seller, and because it was difficult for her to leave and all that, she's like, yeah, I want to be done. I just want to be done. So I said, okay, that's fine. We'll do it. And then they were taking it box 1, and then they come back and they say the radon's high and you need to repair the radon. And I'm like, wait a minute, you said box 1. And she's like, yeah, but this is the seller. And if we don't take it and we walk, then it's going to be on the, you know, you have to explain, you know, all the reports are good. The whole thing, I felt bullied by this agent, the whole thing. And I thought, you know what, I probably won't do business with this lady again, just because I didn't like it. It was not nice. And I did talk to my seller, and my seller agreed. She goes, I feel like it's my house. I'm going to fix it. I didn't feel like she had to fix it. I thought we took it box 1. If they wanted, they fix it themselves. But anyway, we did, and we gave in. And like I said, I talked with my seller, and she did that. But I felt like you know, I don't like to do business that way.
But your seller feels like a win. So even though you may feel that, she's feeling the win. So yeah, I think in that regards, there have been times where I feel like I am like, ugh, but my client's thrilled. So I have to see what from their perspective, and they don't have to know all the, you know, we never share with our clients about the other agent, highs or lows. Like you just, because our goal is to make our clients' experience great. So you may have to shoulder that, but your client's happy. So I would take it as a win, Joanna.
Yeah. Okay.
I've done that on the buy side where say we submit an offer in on Friday and they have an open house on Sunday. And I'll say, hey, and I try to be very like, we're excited about this. I'm not trying to bully you. My buyers just really love this house. What can we do to get your sellers to go ahead and accept our offer right now? And then try to play it that way. And I've had some success doing that, but you kind of have to be careful with the not feeling like a bully.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've done that several times and it seems to work well.
Jake, that's a great way to do it because you give up your power at that point. You give permission to them to give you the answer that they would like, the outcome they would desire. And then they give the power back to you if they'll give you an answer to accept it or not. So it's a great way to do business. It's an open dialogue that allows them to decide on something and helps you ultimately. Or maybe they come back with some ludicrous number and you're like, yeah, absolutely not. But that's okay. At least that gives you an opportunity. But it's a better way than trying to get something put in at 5 p.m. and an answer by 8 p.m. on a Friday, you know, with dinner and everything else and kids and all. It's like it's not going to happen. So that's a great tip there, Jake.
Well, so I have a question leading up to following that. So let's say you listed a property on a Thursday, because that seems to be a big common day. Your open house is Sunday 1 to 3. You have multiple offers. Your clients want to take one on Saturday. What do you do with your open house? Because now you've advertised it and now you put it on social media. But your clients want to take an offer. So they've now accepted an offer on Saturday and I have an open house Sunday 1 to 3.
Cancel it.
But what about the social media people who saw it on coming on the market and you now have people who follow random Facebook groups who are going to show up and your name's going to be associated that you said you were doing this and you didn't.
Just update your posts.
Like the mass media can't cancel, if that makes sense. You can take it off the MLS, like boop, delete, that's gone, not there anymore. And that is what it is, but you've now advertised.
Go in and update all your posts so that everybody that follows those pages gets an update on their notifications that it has been, sorry, we missed you on this one. It sold fast. And try to spin it into something, another opportunity, maybe for somebody else that might need to sell their home, how you can help them. We've had to cancel some open houses in the past, and it's nothing that we love doing after we've done all the marketing and you know, Alex is out door knocking the neighborhood, you know, and then he has to go back and door knock the neighborhood again and tell them that the house is sold and see if they want to sell their house. You know, it's one of those things you can spin it a little bit different, but I see your point. It's a little bit of frustration, but
why not hold it?
What's that?
Why wouldn't you just hold it?
You could, if the seller wants you to hold it, if you're going to go show for backups and you want to still do it that way. Usually a seller that goes the contract that fast has a motivation to move quickly. And if they knew they could keep people out of their house on a Sunday and they could just have their day at their house for probably the last month they're going to ever live there, they're probably going to take that Sunday in peace over a possible backup offer after they've gotten a great offer accepted by an awesome agent that represents them.
Well,
and this happened to me. That's why I was asking.
Well, here's another piece of that, Tricia, would be that you're going to go sit in a house and meet these people knowing full well it's under contract and they may not even have an opportunity. So they're looking through the closets and the bedrooms of a house they can't even buy. So, and then when you have to talk to them, they might ask you, why are you even holding this open if it's not available? And, you know, even if it's chauffeur backups, it's still maybe not available. And so it's kind of just the nature of open houses. And I think people would understand that. It's kind of like advertising the blue Nissan car and you get there and it's gone. And they're like, but you advertised it was here. It's just how it goes. It got sold before you got there.
Yeah.
So
it just caught me off guard. So it was the same house I had at the lake, and my clients had, you know, 7, 8 offers. They picked one. I posted everywhere that this open house was canceled. Like, I went through everywhere, even people who had messaged me, I tried to hit them. I spent hours trying to cancel it. And I had met the neighbors of this house because I door knocked, shook their hands. Hey, if somebody's in your yard, always let me know. I'll have them move their car. You know, whatever I can to knock on their door. And one of the guys texted me, or he called me, and he goes, "Are you not having your open house?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Well, you have people parked out here trying to get in the front door." And so I live around the corner. I jumped in my car. I drove around there, and I just had to explain to them, hey, my clients had moved. So it was really not a hinder to them. So I opened the house and told them, hey, this house has had many offers, you know, on it. They are under contract, but they would be willing to accept a backup offer. I would love to share any other properties nearby with you. I had 20 people at this open house, and I got a seller. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe the 2 hours of an empty house was worth it, but I didn't know how to handle it because the neighbor called me and was like, they're here. And I did have 2 people say to me, gosh, we were like, man, maybe she's not showing up. I would have been mortified if my sign in the yard was then the lady who didn't show up. So I don't know. I wasn't sure how to handle it. Caught me off guard.
well, it sounds like you probably handled it as best you could. Not all open houses are that way. I think that's a one-off. I think because of the type of property it was and where it was probably a one-off, but we've had to cancel them before and we've not had that type of reaction in that situation. So I wouldn't make a new standard or new procedure for yourself based on that one incident. But it sounds like you handled it the best you could in the moment. You made the best of it. And maybe, I guess, in the future, put a sign on the door that says open house has been canceled, you know.
That I should have done. I didn't do that, and I should have, because and the other thing is it's in my neighborhood, so I kind of panicked as well. But okay,
That's
so
a good problem. That's a good thing. There's good problems here.
okay, I have a question. Hold on, I have to get my glasses to read it. I had an agent send me over an amendment based on paragraph 8E, which says, I'll read this because I didn't know what this was, but that's my fault because I'm still learning my contract. But it's under loan approvals, and it says buyer agrees to make good faith effort to obtain a commitment for the loan within blank calendar days, which fills in 45 automatically from the effective date of this contract within blank calendar days. Anyway, so the offer I got, they had changed from 45 to like 25 because I think they wanted to show they were like really eager. But then the agent called me because they're panicked because they're like, we don't have this, and the cancellation of this contract could cancel. So we need to do an amendment that changes that time and day. I've never seen that. I didn't even realize they had put anything different, which is my own lack of knowledge on that. But is that a common thing that people alter? That to me looks like a lending thing, not a negotiation as a power tool. I totally missed that.
Let's see.
Sorry, I know it says it's called an amendment for the loan approval period.
So would that be used for like the people that have already been through underwriting?
Sounds to
versus the
me
people that are
like
like,
sounds to me like they're gonna change lenders. They're still lender shopping.
Maybe.
Hmm.
But I also was like, well, if you're changing an approval, if I sign this, does that then say we're also agreeing to a changed closing date? Like, to me, if it's a lending issue of a changed date, am I given permission for the other as well? Like, is this a keep going kind of thing? It looked like a snowball effect.
I
Well,
think there's more questions to be asked to this agent on why they're doing what they're doing. Where are they at with their loan? Are they getting the same type of loan? Are they changing how much they're putting down? Did they have a setback with their finances and having to readjust? Like there's some things there. Are they changing, like Tony, are they changing lenders? That's not going to happen. Not with us approving that, so there's some things there. So like, and we're talking about final loan approval. Is that right?
It just says the buyer agrees to make a good faith effort to obtain a commitment for the loan within this many calendar days.
Yeah, they're still lender shopping.
I called the lender because when offers come in, I call and go ahead and verify where they are in the process. And I called the lender. He's like, I'm in Florida at a cheer competition. And I was like, oops, I'm sorry. I have a question. Yeah, so I did call, and he seemed to be unaware of anything to do with the lending change or anything.
That's because they're lender shopping.
I don't take it that way, and I'm not a broker. I'm an agent just like y'all. I don't take it that way, and I'm actually looking at it with you. The way I've always interpreted and the way I learned that paragraph was it keeps the buyer from dragging their feet. They have to put some kind of time limit on there to make sure it basically the buyer agrees to do what they need to do to make a good faith effort to get with their lender to do whatever it takes. That, because we all have those buyers, or we've seen those buyers that don't give the lender their documents. They drag their feet. They drag this out. This puts a time frame on that to keep them from doing that. And if they don't do what they're supposed to do and make a good faith effort to get a commitment for the loan within 45 days or 25 days, then the seller can cancel. If you read, it says the seller may cancel this contract with written notice. So it keeps the buyer from just kicking the can down the road. So that's how I always have learned. And I welcome Darren or any other buddy who knows more than I do, that's what that paragraph is. These paragraphs have time frames. That's why we get 10 days to do inspections and 5 days to a resolution period. And it keeps this thing moving along. And this is just a part of that. So the buyer can't drag their feet on working with their lender. And even if they do change lenders, they have to get that approved with you too, because you went under contract with Mizzou or with whatever your lender is.
Right.
Even that has to be kind of sorted out. Anyway, and I know lender changes happen, but that's how I always understood that. And I don't know if anybody else is with me on that, or maybe not. I'm open to learn too.
So why not just do an
them.
amendment to change the closing date? If you still need more time, because your lender's not done with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I have had that happen before, but when the agent called about this, I was like, this was a new thing to me. I'd never seen somebody try to change that time period.
Right.
Or even choose a short time period. How did that help you?
That's what I'm thinking. It's to me that says we have a newer buyer's agent or a buyer's agent that doesn't maybe understand that doesn't really help their buyer to shorten that time period from 45 days to 25 days.
Right.
That's my take on it.
No, I agree. So in all of this situation that I learned a lot. When I called the lender, he wasn't aware of obviously the way that contract thing read. And I was asking, are you not closing on time? Like, I just need to know. And he goes, no, we are closing on time. I have no reason to think we won't close on time. And he said, even though we changed from a non-contingent to a contingent offer, they never told me that. So this client, this buyer went under as a non-contingent offer. They listed their house. They got it sold, closing on the same day as us. So they must have felt they were going to be able to do that. But I asked the lender, well, could they have closed without that closing? And he said they thought they could, but when we went through things, the wife was working half the hours that she was when they first started the lending. So I felt like, I mean, did it change the outcome? No, but I was like, why did nobody tell me this?
They
Like-
should have told you that.
Because you wouldn't have done the deal if they would have told you.
Well, I mean, even though the buyer, I don't think actually knew that they were non-contingent offer until they got under contract and was with the lender, and then they submitted their hours, and her nursing hours she had cut in half the month before to help her husband's business. And so I think at that point, they didn't qualify. They already listed their house. They closed on the same day, but I still felt like the agent should have told me.
100%.
Yeah, I think there was a huge breakdown in communication there, and they probably lost a lot of influence or clout with you in the future in business dealings if they show up to another one of your listings. Because, I mean, I get they were trying to fix the problem quick. They found out something after they were under contract. Oh my gosh, we don't want to lose this house. Let's do this. But in the midst of all that, if they would have just called you and said, hey, we have a situation, will you work with us? Give me the weekend. I'm going to sell this house by Sunday night. Would you do that? And you could probably say no, but you're reasonable. I think we're reasonable. I would like, yeah, I'll give you the weekend and that's it. But the non-communication piece, that really breaks down trust, I think.
And I never would have known had they not called me with this one change of an amendment that I'm like, what is that? And I went digging, and their lender is the one who told me that. I mean, and it is closing on time. So my clients, no different, but it's okay. That was just all a lot that I was trying to learn.
Well, you probably dodged a bullet on that one because it could have went the other way.
Yep.
Yeah, I was not happy.
I wouldn't be happy either. My gut tells me based on what you've said about that, I think we have an agent who doesn't kind of know how this works.
Yeah, possibly.
I hope it's that, not that they're just being shady. I think it's just that they don't understand parts of that. So.
Well, it made me challenge if I knew. So that's why I was asking. I was like, oop, I have all kinds of questions. Soul Mastermind is all for me today. I'm learning so many things.
I think that agent needs to be invited to Keller Williams.
There you go.
I'll send
help 'em.
Brandy. I'll send it to Brandy. She can follow up. Speaking of follow up with other agents, do you do any kind of follow up with other agents? Like, do you send thank you notes after closings? Do you send agents, like, there are some agents I've enjoyed working with, and if I have listings, I've sent them to them, or I've said, hey, if you have something, always let me know. Do you keep in contact with agents outside of KW, or no?
I do. The ones that we like, when we have a successful transaction, and that usually means we're going to handle the business. We're professionals, right? So that's a done deal. But it's how we handled the business, the communication. When it's at a super high level, we love that. And yeah, I definitely stay in touch with several agents out there that are key players that we do business with on a at least yearly basis. We cross paths. And we definitely we'll meet up and grab a beer, or I'll support them in charity events that they do. They don't work for Keller Williams, but I like the way that they handle business and the communication levels. I had a transaction just a month ago, and we had a situation with some financing issues on it, and I was trying to figure these financing issues. I was the buy side, and things were not sure. And I just called them like, look, this is what's happening. This is what I'm working on. And this is when I'm going to follow back up with you and let you know what we're doing. He was like, cool, let me know. Have a good weekend. That's it. And then I called him back on Monday. I go, got the problem solved. This is what we're doing. We're still closing on time. But I let him know potentially we may need to ask for an extension for closing. That was a possibility. And obviously that's never a good phone call to have to make. And it was uncomfortable for me, but I told them exactly what was going on. If we got through the problem and got to the closing table on time, which was a success. But the biggest thing is save the relationship and the trust factor there. So the next time we do business together, that person knows that if something does go a little sideways or unexpected, we're always working on solving the problem. We don't ever just give our, throw our hands up and give up. So I think that's the thing. So yes, we try to stay in touch with those agents. Unfortunately, Brandy, there's a lot of them we work with that aren't real good at communication, as Tricia mentioned, and it's tough to stay in contact with those guys. I don't know.
For sure. I do like sending over a handwritten card too. Hey, it was so wonderful working with you. I really enjoyed this. I would love to do it again sometime. Yeah, I definitely absolutely stand. I Facebook friend them, comment on their things, great listing, beautiful house. Absolutely. Anything we can do to build relationship and rapport is going to only help. So.
Right. Are there I know the rules, there are rules about writing like love letters about, hey, my single mom with 5 kids really needs this house kind of thing. Is it the same in Kansas and Missouri?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, check with Darren on it. Check with Darren. That's a Darren question.
Okay, because I don't get many of those in Missouri, but my listings in Kansas, I get very elaborate detail about their clients on my listings. And I was like, maybe this is a border thing. I didn't know. So
check with Darren.
I don't present them either way. I don't mention it either way, but I just wondered if that was something I ran into recently.
Tricia, we show them after the deal is done, after we go to contract, depending on what the terms are of the contract. I'll let them know, I'm like, hey, I received a letter from this family. I didn't want to bring it to you before you made a business decision because I don't want it to cost you money. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll look at it now. And that's the way we do it. I've been advised from other brokers, not here at this office anymore, but I've been advised by other brokers that that's part of the offer and you should submit that. And I don't believe in that. They've hired us as a fiduciary, and that is exactly what I promised them. And that's exactly what they're going to get from me. I have a heart, even though I'm wearing this shirt, I have a heart, and I will show them the letters, and some of them will bring tears to your eyes. And that's why I don't show them to them, because I don't want that. Because I've had clients that I represented submit a love letter and they got the house and they were in a multiple offer situation under other offers, not the highest offer, not the best terms, contingent on selling their house. And the listing agent is, I don't have any idea why my client's taking your offer, but they're going to take your offer, Ryan. And I'm like, thanks so much, Andy. And so they work. That's why I don't present them, because they do work. And so that was in Kansas too, on that love letter. Just to throw that in there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
no,
More
I
Kansas,
got.
I don't know.
Do you
Yeah.
guys submit them with your buyers? If they're like, hey, I prepared a letter for you and hand it to you?
For our buyers?
Yes.
Yeah, if my buyer asked me to submit a letter with that, I will do that for them. If that's what they want done, it's not illegal. I will submit that love letter with that offer. Absolutely. Doesn't happen very often, Jake, but that was probably 7 or 8 years ago I did that one. So not very often do my buyers do it, but occasionally they'll want to write something.
I would say check with Darren, because I've heard things are changed. I heard it's like a NAR violation when we're leaning, just be careful. Just be careful. That's all I would say. What's tough, Tricia, is if we're not supposed to do that, and we're not supposed to, and I say not supposed to, again, Darren's the one that can tell us if he's okay with it. My last broker, absolutely not. It was a no-go all day long. Don't send them, don't read them, don't receive them, nothing. Don't touch them. They're hot potatoes. That was how I was trained. But anyway, I know every broker is different. But but the challenge is, okay, if everybody else is submitting the love letters and it's obviously working, then I feel like I'm doing a disservice to my buyer to not put one in there, right? And then so you're challenged do I break the rules and go against my broker? Do I, I want my people to get the house.
You don't know on the listing agent side if they're presenting them or not presenting them.
Right.
So I just didn't know. I mean, I did not present them. And to be honest, I had to not read them because I didn't want to be I'm like, I don't want to be involved. I'm just horrible. Like I would just have so much empathy in the wrong place. So I didn't read them either.
Right.
Which offer should you take? You know? Yeah.
Right. There's this one, and then there's some over here. Like I was like, no, I'm not reading them. So I didn't trust myself, which is horrible.
I got the heartstrings. Absolutely. I mean, and everybody's got a great setup and family and a reason why they want this house. They're compelled to want to make an offer and do something. So you're in a tight spot as a listing agent. So the best thing is just to put that on hold for a little bit and then handle business and then ask them if they want to see the letter or not. I don't show them all the letters either. I don't show them the letters of the people that didn't get the house. I'm not doing that either. Only of the winners.
Yeah. And I did tell them after we had gotten through inspections, I was like, hey, I just wanted to share with you a little bit about the family that is buying your home. And here I can share this with you, but I didn't even send them the letter. I was just like, I know a little bit about them and here's their situation. So anyway.
That's
so
cool.
along those lines, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Along those lines, what about verbally expressing, like your buyer's making an offer and you're talking to the listing agent? What about verbally expressing, or which should you just stay away from that totally? Verbally expressing, this is these family has two adorable 4-year-old twin boys and they love the backyard and, things like that. That's from a real experience, actually.
Yep.
I do that.
I'm selling it.
I do that.
First time I'm selling the fact of how qualified they are.
Yes.
And how easily financed they're going to be. And
yes.
working with the listing agent's favorite lender, of course. And please, they're going to reach out to them. And then, oh, by the way, those kids absolutely love that swing set in the backyard.
Yeah.
House. Yeah, absolutely, David. Like pop a little bit of that in there, but mainly the business side first, and then throw a little bit of the personal in there. Absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
All righty.
Sales.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and it's at that point, I think it's on if the listing agent tells the seller all of the stuff I tell them, that's great. But I like to cheese it up when I'm submitting an offer. But I actually just had a client ask about love letters yesterday. He was sending me some article he found that talked about them, and I've never done them. But I called it or texted and asked if we could do it.
Well, you're the king of cheese, Josh.
Well, I told him I don't do love letters. I told him I don't do it. I told him how much the fee is for a fair housing violation. I told him I don't do it. But I just never have. I don't know. Maybe I should. I guess if he wants it done, it doesn't hurt me to send it. It's up to the listing agent if they do anything with it.
Well, here's the challenge. If somebody finds out that they did not get the house because somebody else submitted a love letter and it swayed that seller, that's where we can get in trouble. If they say, hey, these agents colluded together, collusion, whatever that word is, where you got together with each other and, this was, you discriminated or whatever. You didn't pick me, even though I might have, I didn't get a fair chance because I didn't put in a love letter. That's where, I don't know how that figures out, but I don't know. I did text Darren and tell him we could use a refresher on this one.
Yeah. That's some gray area right there, Brandy. Because it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right.
And when you look at these offers, you've got 5 amazing offers, and a seller has the right to accept an offer at any time from any buyer they choose to. So it'd be hard to prove that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's difficult. So I love the idea. Tricia, awesome topic. And I think Darren should definitely circle back on this. And I've probably said some things that can and will be held against me in a court of law on this one here.
I've got one follow-up question on that. So like I put notes in my phone, like I will never work with this realtor again because they were awful. And if that person submits an offer, I kind of tell my sellers, hey, the last time this person was terrible to deal with, they tried to back out 11 times. And then we end up not accepting that offer. Like, could I get in trouble for doing that? for discriminating against that agent?
I don't think so.
Take that note out of your phone.
Well, I don't know. I get a little nervous because of my male white privilege. I can offend everybody with everything. So
Yeah. No, Lonnie's talked about this one. I know we're at the top of the hour. Real quick, Lonnie's talked about this one before. And when he has two good offers, but he's got an agent that can kind of be a booger to work with. And I've done this too. I'll explain to my client. I know this agent. I know Jake really well. We've worked together several times. I know how he'll respond and how he communicates. I've also worked with this person over here, and we've had several transactions that were very bumpy and a few that have gone out of contract. And these offers are very similar. What would you like to do? And then we take Jake's offer. That's what we do. So it's not discriminating. It's letting them know what they're in for when they're going to go to business with somebody that wants to be a booger the whole time. And I think, we talked about that here, but Joanna mentioned it earlier, getting bullied around a little bit. We're not here to bully anybody. We're here to help our clients get the best offer possible, but we're not going to, I don't need to push anybody around to do anything. Let's work together and win for both our clients.
okay, yeah, I just wanted to because I do that too. I just wanted to make sure I'm not going to get in trouble for saying, yeah, these people are terrible. It's not work for them.
How you say it, Jake?
There's only a handful of people.
Just be sure you present that offer.
I do, but it's in red.
X across there.
Yeah, it's highlighted in red. Awful.
Oh my gosh. Well, I learned so much today. You guys have been really helpful in answering so many of my questions. So I think
Oh, we're there.
Sorry,
We're there.
2 minutes.
Great call. Thank you.
Paul, Tricia.
Happy 4th of July. Be
Oh,
safe.
bye,
Happy
bye.
Fourth.
All your fingers.
Keep your
Safe
fingers.
travels.
See ya.
Fingers.
Bye.
Bye.
See y'all later.